Stream is up in 5, 4, 3, 2, and we're live. Welcome to this episode of Are We Allowed to Question That? And today we're going to do a part 2 of talking about FDR and LBJ. A viewer asked a question, and that's what it's going to be centered around, about where we collect taxes for roads. Apparently he pulled his comment. I'm assuming it was a he. And I wish he wouldn't have, because I would like to give him some credit for asking the question. Anywho, if you are wanting to contact the show, you can call the show at 234-902-1912. Or you can email us at o'malleysadventure@yahoo.com. Do people still use email? Anyway, so let's talk about it a little bit. The taxes that I was discussing on the last show were taxes involving retirement and healthcare. And my thoughts and opinions are that the New Deal was a raw deal, and the Great Society didn't turn out so well, because it is kind of interesting. They will always talk about Social Security running out of money, but they never talk about Medicare or Medicaid running out of money. I think that's odd. That's something we should maybe revisit at some point. But he wanted to know about taxes for roads, and I went back through and did a little bit of research this week, and believe it or not, James Madison, one of the founding fathers, when he was the man in charge, President Madison gave his annual address to Congress. His remarks were similar to modern State of the Union address, in which presidents outline their goals and propose ambitious undertakings. He called on Congress to authorize funding of construction of national roads and canals, arguing that the economic benefits of these improvements would far outweigh their costs. I left a link to this website in the description, and he warned in the language that can be interpreted as either requiring constitutional amendment or the need to delicately craft legislation so it would pass constitutional muster. Any defect of constitutional authority which may be encountered can be supplied in a mode which the Constitution itself has providently pointed out. So, yes, he knew that there would be benefit from the roads and canals, but he also knew and had a little bit of foresight that the potential would be there to be abused. And I'm going to use that as a segue into this video clip, and I think this one makes my point the best. Hold on a second. Let's set this up. Check this out.
When I pointed to the fact that if a highway was built for the purpose of dividing a white and a black neighborhood, or if an underpass was constructed such that a bus carrying mostly black and Puerto Rican kids to a beach, or that would have been in New York, was designed too low for it to pass by, that obviously reflects racism that went into those design choices. I don't think we have anything to lose by confronting that simple reality, and I think we have everything to gain by acknowledging it and then dealing with it, which is why the Reconnecting Communities, that $1 billion, is something we want to get to work right away, putting to work.
But that's such a heavy lift. I mean, you have to reconstruct communities that this happened to. As you said, some of these beltways and interstates and roadways were built before the Civil Rights Act, before the Voting Rights Act, and were meant to be racist. But how do you go about redefining and replanning these roadways and communities that are already settled in? since then.
So what's interesting is it's going to vary by community, and we have to listen to the community. Sometimes it really is the case that an overpass went in a certain way that is so harmful that it's got to come down or maybe be put underground. Other times, maybe it's not that way. Maybe the really important thing is to connect across it, to add rather than subtract. And that's where we don't want to impose a one-size-fits-all answer from here. But when we were out in Syracuse, for example, looking at I-81, we saw the local vision for how they want to get past those divisions, and those local ideas are going to be taken very seriously as we try to meet the spirit of this law.
So, $1 billion to reconstruct racist bridges and overpasses. I'll let you decide if you think that's legitimate, okay? But I will say this, that his position, transportation secretary, pays $221,000 a year, and he's in charge of spending the $1 billion to reconstruct racist bridges and overpasses. There's a lot there to chew on, but I think you can at least see where there's probably some abuse of funds there, especially in 2024. I'm not saying that those things didn't happen back then, but this is 2024, and we need to look at it through that lens. So, back to the person's question about how raising money for roads, you see far better results if it's done locally versus at a federal level. Big government makes big mistakes with your money. It just a blanket look at things that have happened with millions of dollars of military equipment just being left overseas for other people to have that actually want to do harm to us. From that level down, spending $1 billion on bridges and overpasses that are racist. I mean, at some point, you have to say, okay, we need to do an audit of these places and see if we're getting any bang for our buck. And on this topic, I would say at a federal level, we aren't. I mean, and you can look at if you're from this area, 76 east and west, up through that Akron area that's been under construction since I think I was in high school. People need to start critically thinking about what they're seeing and realizing that paying just a little bit more in taxes, that's not the solution anymore. And it hasn't been for a while. But anyway, that's my thoughts. Let me know yours. I would love to hear them. If you post a comment, please do not feel like you have to remove it. Even if I don't respond to it, there's a good chance I'm going to do a video on it. And it's a lot easier for me to do it that way. That way I can not only answer the question to you, but I can show people things as far as where I've come up with my ideas. But again, I'd love to hear yours. The comment section is open, and be something close to civil. That's my thoughts. I mean, everything is an open topic. And yes, we are allowed to question. So, that brings us to the quote of the day. Grab my cheaters. And this goes back to the show that we initially done on why we're a republic. But anyway, quote, "Democracy is two wolves and a lamb voting on what to have for lunch. Liberty is a well-armed lamb contesting the vote." End quote. Benjamin Franklin. And that, my friends, is a wrap. Again, leave something in the comments. If you like these videos, hit the thumbs up. If you don't like them, hit the thumbs down. I love engagement, and I think we are at a period of time where we should question everything. Until next time, stay sharp, keep a tight shot group, and rock on. Peace.